YouTube Live. So we are live on YouTube. Sina Foley and Mina Dolwani, and we want to see if we don't get technical difficulties.
We are testing it out, so bear with us, folks.
Yes, bear with us. Started streaming less than a minute ago. Okay, and voila. Let's see who joins us. So, Sina, right now it's just the two of
Anyone
us.
out there? Anyone out there in YouTube land? We could talk about whatever topic you want to get to us. Well, within reason, business related, please.
Yes, please. Yes, please. It says one watching. So the one watching, maybe you could say hi. You know, at least.
Hi, person watching us as we test this out. So don't think
Unless it's
jump off for no reason.
Yeah, unless it's Ali and Mason. Hi, hello.
It's always the destination family everywhere we go.
Let's see.
Oh, do you know what it is? Like our followers are getting notified that we're live, right?
Yes.
Our YouTube followers? Hi, YouTube family, wherever you are, whoever you are that I can't see. Well,
yes.
You know what? Let's just talk about Destination CEO and what a great program it is.
Oh my God. I'm so in love with it. I know somehow, sometimes I feel like why am I so much in love with it? Then I remember because I birthed it. No, just kidding.
Yeah, maybe we don't talk about the birthing process.
No, that's a painful subject.
No, I don't want to know. But I thought, you know what? Listen, to anyone out there, it was a good session today on LinkedIn Live to talk about stress. And it's, yeah. You know, it's funny when someone said, "What techniques did you use?" I'm like, a therapist. Books. Actually, I'm going to post on the thread a link to something I want people to listen to. But I read a lot of books to learn. I like learning about people, though. That's why I'm in HR, right? I like learning about why we do what we do.
Exactly.
Which mostly has to do with our insecurities and our ego. We want people to like us. We want people to tell us we're good enough.
And Sina, you said something about bruised ego. Let's talk a little bit about that. What does, because many times we make decisions, we don't even realize that our ego is in play.
Our ego is in play in a lot of things we do. So, for instance, when I was stressed about something I talked to you about at work, and somebody maybe potentially not being happy with my work, that's because I wanted their approval to think that I was good. Not just good, but great. I'm a great recruiter. So I want them to think I'm a great recruiter. And that if I didn't have them feel that way, am I not a great recruiter? Like, what does that mean about me? So my ego got bruised when someone just wasn't happy with some of my output of work. Someone's allowed to be unhappy with my output of work and it not have anything to do with the value of who I am as a person. So my ego got bruised and I had to check myself because it was really about seeking approval when I don't need someone's approval. And I know that. So everybody stumbles in this process of, learning about yourself. And I stumbled. And then I kind of caught myself and I was like, whoa, that's your ego. You were looking for someone's approval and you don't need someone's approval. And I don't mean approval as in the work I do. And, if I had to submit a report or, an assignment or a project, but the approval in that I'm good enough. And that was where my ego got bruised. And I had to check myself and say, wow, what are you pissed off about? You're pissed off because your ego got bruised. And now you're emotionally reacting to a situation that isn't as bad as you think it is. And that once I was able to kind of understand that, I was able to snap out of it. And that takes a lot of work and practice, but it's something I've worked on, and I'm really, I'm proud of, because I did a lot of hard work. It's hard to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, that wasn't a really mature way to handle it, Sina. That was really petty. That was really immature. That wasn't nice. So when I had to kind of face those things, I had to go deeper into saying, not that I handled it badly, so I'm bad, but I handled it badly. Let's explore why. What triggered me to respond in such a way that was petty or catty or, mean girl or whatever it is, right? And then once I connect the dots, snap right out of it. So that's where my ego got bruised. And once I figured that out, as quickly as you figure it out is almost as quickly as you can release it. If you get really honest, because once you say my ego's hurting, you don't stay in my ego's hurting. You don't want to stay in that category. So you kind of fundamentally snap yourself out of it.
And ego is such a personal thing, right? And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think rejection and job rejection, when we apply for a position and we're like, I work so hard on this resume, and I have all the skills, and I have all these, I'm the right fit for the job, and they didn't contact me, they didn't even acknowledge me. That's our ego talking. That's not really us talking, isn't it?
Yeah, it's our ego saying, I'm so important that I know how life should go. I know better than the hiring manager. I know better than the ATS. I know better than the recruiter. I'm right and all of you are wrong. I deserve that job. So that's your ego. Like maybe you're great and that's just not the right role for you, but you don't get to try and control the way the world spins. Like life happens, and we're here to be a part of it and participate in it and learn from it, but we're not here to control life. And every time we want to control how something's going to go, that's your ego. I know better than the hiring manager. I know better than everybody. I know better than company policy. I know better than God or a higher power. This is how life's supposed to go. Let me tell you how life's supposed to go. No, man, that's your ego.
Even the pandemic, that is, people are getting laid off, people are getting challenged. It boils down to our egos hurt. Like right now, my ego's hurt because, we got one thumbs down, and there was no reason for that person to do that. But, I don't care what they think. The point is that we're here. We bring this amazing program for everybody. We are helping everybody. We are together. We're volunteering our time. I mean, it's past dinner time. It's past dinner time for you. It's almost 8 o'clock. I haven't even cooked, but we're here because we wanted to test it out. So as we're testing it out, what do you think? How's the reception here?
It's really clear for me. So it's a lot easier, and I'm not even on my earbuds. That thumbs down it's good. It's feedback, right? If someone needs more structure, or they thought this was going to be about something else and we're talking about a topic that doesn't speak to them, that's okay. Like, I think, people can disagree or dislike us or what we're doing, or, whatever the output is. It's just a matter of like when not to let it affect your own value of yourself. So, it's this whole notion, like, people don't know how to agree to disagree anymore in life, right? And I think that's a lost art, where you don't have to like what I have to say, and you don't have to like my opinions or my advice or my teachings or my mentoring, and it just might not be the right fit. But it doesn't mean I'm crappy. Like, I don't know how to like do anything good, and all. Like, you don't go from I'm 10 out of 10, I disagree, oh my god, I'm 0 out of 10. Everyone just has an opinion. And the thing is, like, you have to remember that if you value the positives and they fill you up, then you will get torn down by the negatives. So if someone says something nice to me, I'm usually like, thanks, that's nice. It's good. I mean, you meant well and the intention behind it is good, but it doesn't fill me up because I'm already full. So that way, that if someone said, "You're garbage," I'd be like, "Okay, thanks. That's your opinion and it's okay." But it doesn't tear me down. So you got to be careful that you just, if all the positives fill you up, be careful, because then the negatives will tear you down. Or you just fill yourself up, and then opinions are just opinions, and you could hear them, you could learn from them, maybe you could make some tweaks, but they won't define who you are, good or bad. That's what
And
I've learned.
that's usually something I struggle with, right? Because like Elisa, my dear friend, used to say, Mina, you're not a gold coin. You won't be liked by everybody, but that one dislike or one hurtful comment will stay with me versus the thousands of love comments, great suggestions. Yeah, that one thing sticks out. Um, so we were talking about some great techniques, Sina, and because I was having technical difficulties, I missed it, and I don't know if it was recorded or not recorded on LinkedIn. Do you want to share? You were talking. You had something about finger painting. I heard finger painting, and then the next time I heard was, "See, that's how you do it." And I'm like, huh?
Okay, because Bijou was demonstrating. So basically, when we were kids, we would put our hand on a paper and we would take a pencil or a crayon and we would trace our hand print, right? And so what I'm saying to people to do is, and a coworker taught me this, former coworker taught me this last year, is you're going to do the same thing and trace the outline of your hand just in the air with your other fingers, with your other finger. And as you go up the finger, you breathe in, and as you go around and down the loop, you exhale. And you just kind of, do that. I can't do it because I'm holding the phone. Yes, that's what you're doing. And you continuously, and you can do that, 3 or 4 times, but you're going to match it with your breathing. And that helps reset. And there's just a sensation that comes from it that is a calming effect to you. So that's just something you could do if you're feeling really stuck or anxious. And then the other is a breathing exercise where you're going to breathe in and breathe out slowly. And what that does is sort of reset your body. So that's going to breathe in, counting to 3, hold for 4 seconds, and then exhale, counting to 7. So, maybe it takes practice because you might be like, and you're like, I did it for 7, but you're going to start practicing to start to exhale slowly, counting to 7. And if you do that 3 or 4 times, again, it's just a reset if you're really kind of getting stuck and you're feeling anxious. If you're stressed, like not all stress is bad, but if you're really, really stressed out, you need to kind of snap yourself out of it, right? You got to kind of shock yourself to be like, okay, we need to reset the way we're thinking about something, or, call someone and vent. But, the whole point is to like snap out of it. So if you're going to vent for 5 minutes and then snap out of it, and there's nothing wrong with kind of complaining if there's a time limit, I think, but there's just other coping mechanisms out there so that you don't get lost in just feeling stressed, because the pandemic causes a lot of stress and it's caused me stress. But what I've learned is to know that I'm stressed, and maybe I need to go outside and get some fresh air, some vitamin D with the sun. Maybe I need to call somebody. Maybe I need to put some music on and just dance it out. Like whatever it is that works for anyone. But what it really comes down to is knowing yourself well enough to know when you're off. And if you're off, you need help or you got to do something different. And, some people go for a run. Some people, play video games. Some people cook, like whatever it is that can kind of get you out of that funk is what you want to do, because like long-term stress is going to have an impact on your health. So you got to be careful with things like that. So those are 2 things that I tell people, is a little thing of how to breathe, because sometimes when you're in an anxious state, someone says, just take a deep breath, and you just, okay, it didn't work. It's like, no, take a real deep breath. So it's the 3, 4, 7 count. So that's what I tell people, and I find that that helps myself. I'm not a person that's good at meditating. I've never been able to kind of quiet myself to that level. But again, it's whatever works. If going for a run, if like lifting weights, if it's reading, if it's something that kind of just pulls you out of that bubble, then you learn what works for you is about what works for you.
You know, something funny. I told you that I started meditating, right? And I started meditating. I put the audio meditation on, or rather, put it on my phone and let it play whilst I close my eyes. So I'm just following the instructions and listening to the stories that are going back on the background and music. For the past few days, my brain is not accepting the meditation. You know, instead of quietening it down, it's going over on what overpower, auto drive, something, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, you have to
Yeah.
do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And really, it takes practice, you know, to quiet down, to step back, to think from a different perspective. It takes practice, it takes time, and then it sometimes
Listen,
messes up.
anything worth doing is, if you care about it enough, it's going to take time. Like we didn't learn our professions by trying it one time and now we're experts, or we didn't learn to cook because the very first time we put some ingredients in a pot and then it's like, now I know I'm perfect. Like everything is going to take time, and then there's going to be you know, little hiccups along the way. So sometimes, like, hey, listen, when I want to dance it out in my living room, and that works 9 times out of 10, but that one time out of 10, that's not doing it for me. And that's okay, because then I'll have a different thing I can try. But, we all experience stress. This whole thing was not to say, here's the way to never ever experience stress. It's just, here's how to cope, because looking for a job in a pandemic, well, it doesn't get worse, right? But it also, is an interesting thing because everyone's experiencing it as well. So now, if you deal with rejection, like a lot of people are, because it's a pandemic, or like a lot of jobs are on hold. So it's not you. And there's kind of like, there's comfort in knowing that, we're all going through it separately and together.
And
And there's
worldwide, right?
worldwide. So it's not just you in your bubble applying for jobs and not hearing back. It's something that we're all experiencing, and it's tough. And you and I have talked about it. I do not like working from home, but it is the reality, and I'm grateful to be working. So there's pluses and minuses, and I could sit here and cry about it every day, but that's not going to change anything. So, I've got to learn my coping mechanisms to get through it, which is to have Zoom calls and FaceTime calls with my colleagues and my friends, and checking in and doing the Zoom stuff, and just like, doing all the extras, and keeping in touch with my staff at the branch, and still feeling connected. And if I feel connected, then I can see some of the benefits of working from home, right? Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm not worrying about a commute time and all that stuff. So everything sometimes is not as bad as we create it to be, right? Sometimes there are positives, even if things aren't going our way. It's not all 100% bad. So learning how to kind of see that is something that, again, takes practice, but it also takes you to pay attention to yourself and say, am I really upset, or am I just complaining?
And there's so much to life than job search and job, right? Job is a small aspect of life. Yes, it's an important aspect because for many of us, it gives us our identity. But at the end of the day, it's job is not everything. There is so much more. There's health. I know when I almost died last year, I thought, hey, I just wish I had a few more years. I have so much more to do. I have so much more to give, right? And now, as soon as I got it, it's almost like I am running on overdrive, because that fear of it can end anytime. I got to maximize everything that I have. That in itself is a little bit of stress. You know, Indrayani Nuri, who was the CEO of PepsiCo, I think.
Pepsi. Yeah,
Pepsi. Yep. She said in her retirement speech that the one thing that she regretted, she had a fantastic career. She traveled worldwide. She did everything she ever wanted to do. But the one thing she regretted was not having enough time to spend with her kids. Right? Steve Jobs said
and
that.
that's a hard thing, right? When you're a working parent.
Yeah.
That's I think, you're thinking about her running Pepsi and like the mom that's working at the restaurant, like whatever. Like every mom kind of, or a parent has this guilt of like, you're not there, you're missing out. But I think you balance it with what you want in life. And someone that I used to work with that I really respect would remind me that the jobs are what we do, and they can matter to us, and they can be really important in our lives, and they could be really impactful to the world, but they're not who we are. And that is a really big differentiator that we struggle with, because everyone's so proud of what they do if they're working. And it's like, the rat race culture is like, oh, and I was like working 12 hours or 16-hour days, and I was giving it, and blah blah, and then everyone thinks you're like so great at what you do, and you just talk about work, but what happens and why we struggle when we get laid off is because we kind of forgot that that's not our identity, but it became our identity. But what we do is not who we are. Who we
And
are helps us do what we
yeah.
do.
I don't know if you remember, but a few years ago, the laws where it used to be that at 65, people would retire. Automatically, that would be the retirement age. And that changed. And that changed to no retirement age, only because statistics was showing that as soon as people ended their careers, if they did not have something to fall back on, active life, friends, family, plans, whatever, traveling, they were dying. The cases of people dying were so high that the law had to change to no retirement age. Of course, the other factor also that once you retire, the pension wasn't enough, so there was that situation.
Right? Yeah,
the poverty rate was high. I was working with JobStart a couple of years ago. They have a seniors program, and I was writing a grant for another seniors program, and I had to go through all of these statistics. And a lot of seniors, as you know, in seniors homes as well, they feel isolated because their kids have grown up and gone, or they were single, or whatever the situation. They don't have a companion. They don't have anybody to talk to. They don't have, and all they had was their work, and that's over. So they're feeling really lonely.
I know. And I think that's what people are feeling now in this pandemic, looking for work, feeling isolated, feeling lonely, feeling disconnected, and like, hurry up and get a job so I can get back to normal in my life. But maybe it's a time for us to remember that what we do and how we're connected and who we are they're not all the same thing, right? Like I miss going to my branch because I miss the team at my branch. I still do my job working from home, but so the job hasn't changed. The connection is what I miss, because it's about people. So I think, you're right. And even my dad, when my dad retired, he really struggled because he puttered around a garden at the house. He did all these things. He was busy. And then he had his job, and all of a sudden retirement hits and it kind of stops, right? So just remembering that, you're more than what you do for a living. You're more than your paycheck. You're more than the company that deposits the money into your account. What you do, and how you do it is based on who you are, but what you do is not who you are. It's just what you do. It's just your job. And you can love it and care about it and be passionate about it, which I am for my job and you are for your job. But, my friend Eric had taught me, he's like, Christina, but what, life can't be your job. If your life is your job, you're going to you're going to hit a roadblock. Then you're going to be, you know, fundamentally something's going to happen that changes it, and you won't be able to cope with that easily because you're putting your whole life and identity and ego into what you do during the day from 9 to 5, or the relative 9 to 5. Anyways, so that's us today. Hopefully this was a good session.
That's us today. It seemed more, we have 3 viewers, so thank you, our 3 viewers that you spent the last few minutes. We appreciate it. Hope you liked our girl banter. I think, Sina, I'd like to continue these YouTube lives because I think there's only one way to build it. And if we need proper reception, we need to do things here. Even if 3 people are watching, we will get 100 people watching in no time, right?
I have internet issues.
So you have internet issues
and background from you.
Oh, getting a lot of background. Okay, I guess it's time to say goodbye. Ali said it was 6 people watching, so we had 6 people watching. No, you can't hear me.
Thank you, 6 people. We were just testing this out, and this became a thing. So thank you, 6 people.
Thank you, 6 people, and hopefully next week you will join us again with some of your other friends, and we will be able to communicate and share, share some experiences. So it's Meena and Sina from Destination CEO, only for you today, chatting. And next week we'll try to pull Buichu also. Thanks. Have a good night. Thanks, Sina. Have a great night, sweetheart.
Thank you, Meena. All right, bye.
Take care. Bye.